The United States is struggling to contain spreading unrest over race and policing. Protests have continued 6 nights and have now spread to at least 75 cities. National Guard troops have been deployed in 15 states and in Washington, D.C. Anger continues to mount over the killing of an unarmed black man by white police officers. Most demonstrations have been peaceful, but some have taken a violent turn. Some protesters attacked police vehicles, while others set buildings on fire. Widespread looting and multiple shootings have been reported, and police have confronted protesters with batons, rubber bullets, and tear gas. But in some cities, several officers have been joining peaceful demonstrations.
These have been very chaotic nights, and that's why I took a knee, all right? If I can take a knee with the community to garner and broker peace, then I'll get on my knee every day.
Protesters want all 4 police officers involved in George Floyd's death to be arrested, and so far only one has been charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. But protesters and critics are calling for tougher charges.
New Zealanders are among the latest from around the world to march in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. Thousands gathered across various cities, including Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. In contrast to the violent protests in the United States, the ones in New Zealand were peaceful with minimal police presence. Now for more on this, Simon Marks joins us live from Washington, D.C. Simon, 6 days of rage, and it seems like there's a little sign of it letting up.
There's no sign of it letting up at all, Steve, and it's very difficult to see how this is going to let up at any point in the short-term future. These demonstrators and protesters are not in any sense monolithic. They're descending, as you said, on 75 cities and counting all over the United States. For many of them, the key issue is the killing of George Floyd and concerns that more needs to be done to punish some of those police officers who were on the scene when he was trying to be arrested by officers and died, but are still free and are not yet in custody, in contrast to Officer Derek Chauvin, who is facing third-degree murder charges. But in many parts of the country, these protests are now about more than that. This is not a single-issue set of protests. This is partly a paroxysm of just seething anger over the division that has been sown in this country by the Trump administration for the last 3 years. It's a paroxysm of anger over the fact that 40 million people across the country now find themselves out of work as a result of COVID-19. It's also partly related to the fact that people have been locked in their homes for the last 11, 12 weeks in many parts of the country and are just itching to get out. And they are expressing that by joining these demonstrations. And there has been looting in many parts of the country, including right here in Washington, D.C. Some serious looting last night in the Georgetown district, even very close to where I'm speaking to you from, up in the northern suburbs of Washington, D.C. The mayor of the city now surveying some of the damage. For this to end, traditionally, a president of the United States would make an address to the nation indicating that he understood the concerns of the protesters and urging people to stay at home. That is absolutely not what we're hearing from President Donald Trump at all. Indeed, there has been no address to the nation, just a stream of tweets, many of them, his critics argue, seeking to fan the flames of the unrest and do very little to pacify the situation.
Simon, I want to look at the white policeman, this Derek Chauvin, who knelt on George Floyd's neck, which subsequently led to his death. We know he's going to be appearing in court later. Do we know what we can expect? Do you also see this perhaps maybe easing a little bit of the unrest?
I think it's very difficult to know. I think it has the potential, Glenda, to serve as another flashpoint, because the demonstrators and protesters in Minneapolis, where Mr. Floyd's killing occurred, are furious that Officer Chauvin is facing only third-degree murder charges. They believe that he should be facing second- or first-degree murder charges because they believe it was his intent to kill George Floyd. The third-degree charge suggests he did not have a murderous intent. So family members believe that he should be facing more serious charges. The Department of Justice here in Washington, D.C. is now launching a probe. It is possible that ultimately Officer Chauvin will face hate crime charges as a result of that. But whether his appearance in court for this first occasion, where he'll be formally charged and will confirm that he understands the charges and confirm that his identity is as it's recorded on the charge sheet, whether this damps anything down in Minneapolis or kicks things up another notch, I think we're going to have to wait a few more hours to see.
Well, indeed, thanks for that update and keeping your eye out for us on that. Summer Marks from Washington, D.C.